Right, welcome those early birds. Just getting ready to start the stream here. I'm just getting a few things together while you're waiting there. Welcome if you've joined early. I'm going to be building some of these custom KWA rifles that we started on a live stream a while ago, but just getting, like I say, bits and pieces together. If you can hear me okay, please let me know in the comments whether you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook. Just let me know in the comments that you can hear me okay, and then we'll proceed with the live stream. And as soon as we've got confirmation that you can hear me, we'll get the camera turned on. Sound check, right, okay. So we're not using the old webcam today, we're going to be using the top-down camera. So I'm hoping this will look alright. Apologies for the jankiness. Did learn from last time. We were using, well I say we, I was using a DSLR camera that I just figured out how to connect it onto the PC that day. So it was a bit of a pain in the backside. It lasted like about 1 or 2 hours, but then the battery went in the camera. So I've learned from that mistake. I've now got it running off a power supply, so the top-down camera won't fail. I think last time we ended up switching to the webcam, but this should give you a better look because I can zoom you in to look at certain things as I'm doing them. Hi Romeo, how you doing? Nice of you to join me. Like I said, we're streaming on 3 platforms, so we're on Twitch, Facebook and YouTube. So I'm just trying to make it easy for those, because sometimes we do stuff on YouTube, but not everybody uses YouTube, which is a surprise to myself. But we're going to be working on these KWAs. Now, I did a live stream a while ago where I was building these KWAs, and we were fitting, I think it was the first time we'd had gate asters in. I fitted the gate asters, and one of the guys came on and says, I've been told that the gate asters don't fit the KWA gearboxes. And by this time, I'd fitted them in there as we were talking and chatting away as we do on these live streams. To which, yes, the gate asters do not fit the KWA gearboxes, which I'll be going through today as to why the asters don't fit the gearboxes. But the reason why this has took so long to continue from where we started was literally just getting the Gate Titans back in stock. So, yeah, not too bad, Romeo. Nice of you to join me. Hopefully you've not been relegated to the bathroom as you usually are. So we've got 2 of these to build, and I'm only going to do one on camera just because it takes far longer than it should doing it on camera, because I'm having to watch what I'm doing as I'm doing it, where usually I just smash these out on the workbench. But they're based on the Mod 3. I've actually got a complete one I can show you. So this is serial number 1. So this is the first one I did. This was actually built for Amanda. And as you can see there, got lovely Valkyrie VMP9 trays all over. Let's see if I can zoom you in. So you got Valkyrie VMP9 at the top there. Valkyrie VMP9 9x19, because that's what, if this was a real gun, that's what it'd be using with these MP9 mags. And then we can move the stock out of the way. So we've got SN VMP9 00101. This is number 1. Jaeger Precision, England, UK. So very good stuff there. Zoom you back out so you can see. And then on the right hand side, if the DSLR wants to focus, we've got this Valkyrie logo. So just something unique. And when I was building these, obviously did one for myself and Amanda, and then I was like, why not build an extra 2, and we could put them up on the website. Now, they're not going to be cheap guns. They're going to be fitted with Gate Titan Mosfets. They're going to have max model piston heads for better air seal on the piston, because the standard piston heads aren't ported, so the KWAs can suffer from a bad seal on the piston head. We're going to be fitting Lilacs barrels, Lilacs Prometheus hot rubbers, We'll also be fitting, I think, fancy max model triggers, if I remember correctly. And then we're going to be putting it in a box with some mags, so you get like a pack of 3 mags in the box as well, so you've got 4 mags to begin with. So you're getting something custom, you're getting something custom and laser engraved, you're getting something Cerakoted, and then we're doing like all the work on the gearbox as well. So you've not been relegated to the toilet just yet. Well, that's good to hear. So from those that don't know, Romeo, who watches us quite a lot, sometimes get relegated to the bathroom to watch us by his other half. So Gearbox version 2.5 gearbox, very simple little version 2 here, but it is a little bit different in this area, and that's why the asters wouldn't fit. So if you're working on a KWA, especially when you're working on the gearboxes, you'll need a T10 Torx bit for these screws here. I'm going to try and keep my hands out the way as much as I can for you. Just make sure this is focused so you can see it. And for some reason, even though this camera shoots raw footage, it will only output in 1280 by 720. So I don't know why that is. I'm not the most technically minded when it comes to these live stream things, but I do my best. And we can get started here. So I wasn't actually going to do these on stream again, but I thought because we'd left it and a bit of a cliffhanger last time before they were completed, I thought I'd get one. While I'm doing them, I'll do one on stream because we want to get these on the website ready to go. Now we've done these, as I say, in a very small number, so we're only going to be doing 2. And the reason for that is when I built the first one for myself and Amanda to use, you know, it's no secret that, you know, I love KWAs. You know, I've got about 3 or 4 KWA rifles now, and it's just, we have one for different things. Like I've got the QRF Mod 1, which you might have seen on the live stream before. Got a TK45, got a Mod 3. So I do love working on these because they are a very good, strong gun, and the shimming on these gearboxes from the factory as well is absolutely superb. So which website will be on, James? These will be going on the Bespoke website. It is a Jaeger Precision custom build, but they'll be going on the Bespoke Airsoft website. I'm not sure on the price just yet. We're going to get these built, get the bits and pieces totaled up, and then put it up. We could have gone further by fitting extra bits and pieces into the, you know, like maybe R-hop it and do some other bits, perhaps fit a nice motor. But then you start stacking the cost up quite a lot. So we wanted to upgrade it. The key thing that we wanted to do is we wanted to upgrade it to the point where it's coming out with more internal upgrades compared to the KWA special editions. But we wanted to Cerakote it. We wanted to put funky trademarks on it, not the usual just KWA or whatever they do. Made sure we got rid of the made in Taiwan markings on there. So yeah, been using KWA QRF Mod 1 a lot over the past few months, which I got from yourselves. Absolutely love it. QRF Mod 1, you know, is my go-to gun. We did a weekend event just recently, and it's my nighttime gun because it's like an MP5, but just one that's just pure solid metal throughout. It's good technology, it's reliable, and you can just chuck a hell of a lot of upgrades into them. So if I do babble, you'll have to tell me off because I tend to go off on a tangent. So you'll just have to pop a message in the comments below and just say stop babbling and get on with the build. So, but how are we all? For those that have joined in, how is everybody? How's the lockdown? Well, say lockdown, right? Lockdown now, aren't we? How's the pandemic treating you? I realise everyone's getting to some games again now, so it's nice to be out in the field. Inbox me a price for full upgraded. It's a stunning piece. Well, I'm sure I'll do that for you, Romeo. They're not going to be cheap by all means because of the amount of tech that we're throwing into them, but you know, you'll be able to get yourself a nice custom gun that will be available for a short time, like I say, 2. And the reason I wanted to do 2 is because one of the worst things about buying a custom gun from somewhere Like the KWA special editions they do, there's more out there than what you want to be out there. You want to be unique. So there'll be 2 people out on the field with one of these, and that'll be it. The very slim chance of those 2 people ever running into each other, unless maybe a couple or a duo buy them both to match. But there's nothing worse than getting out on the field and seeing someone with a custom gun that looks exactly like yours. So that's the reason I wanted to do it. And this isn't going to be, oh, we just do these 2 rifles, then that's it. We're going to be doing other models too. Trying to fit it round with how busy we are with the website and other bits and pieces that we do. So you'll have to bear with us. So we're going to be fitting the Max model piston head. I really do like this piston head for the KWAs. I've got it in a majority of my guns because it's not very expensive, and I like how they've done it. It's really well machined. You've got a dual O-ring set up there. It seals really well, and I honestly think this is probably one of the better parts that, or one of the best parts Max Model make. I haven't had much experience with the hop units just because every time we stock them they go out of stock before I can have a play with them. But you know, perhaps that's a good thing. So we're going to take this standard one off here. If I can get it off. Sometimes they want to be a bit of a pain. Oh, there we go. And I do always do these live streams on the fly. I don't know whether you guys would like a bit more of a heads up before we do them. That might, to be honest, bring more viewers in. I'm not too sure. We don't really do it for the viewers, like demanding high amount of views. To be honest, it's just a bit of fun, and you can follow along if you want to. Get this piston head off here. Just give it a bit of a tap. So. Have you done anything to your M45 yet? I'm wanting to change the inner barrel. Would you recommend for the long rail? I do agree with the heads up. I haven't done, apart from external stuff, which you'll have seen anyway, I haven't really done anything to my M45 because honestly it doesn't need it. So I know a lot of people might think I'm not being honest there when I say it, but the M45 AG wise is the only gun on my wall which hasn't had one single upgrade part put into it, so all the rest have. But I think it's just because the gun performs so well, there's no real need to mess with it, to be honest. The KWAs perform well, but they go absolute beast mode when you fit these upgrade parts in. So just put a bit of Loctite on the threads there, just to stop it from coming loose. It's only some low strength, because you know, if you need to get it off, there's nothing worse than having high strength Loctite on a piston head. Like so, and we'll let that sort of sit. Just put a dab of some mech oil on there, just to lube the O-rings up. You don't have to go crazy with it. I love it, just not the mags, and the drum mag kills the look. For the M45, you don't like the mags for the M45? What don't you like on the M45 mags? Perfect air seal, no air loss whatsoever. I can't push that in anymore. So, problem solved. Not that it's a massive problem. And then before we do the Mosfet install, as always, I got asked a lot last time why I didn't didn't do this with a Dremel, but I honestly don't like to go ham at these these gearbox casings. So if you're fitting file, if you're fitting a gate tighten to a KWA, you've got this little selector plate, and you have to fit the sticker that comes with the gate tighten for to basically line up the sensors properly, so you get 3 different types of stickers. But when the stickers are attached, sometimes these sharp edges of the gearbox here and here can actually peel the stickers off the selector. So all I do, I get a file and I just round the edge of where that sticker is going to sit. Doesn't need much, but it's just so the sticker can ride over the edge without being peeled off by the gearbox casing. It's something that I do to every KWA that I fit a gate tighten into. And it was just something that I did to my own rifle, and then you just sort of carry it on when it's something that's and I've never had an issue after doing this. So just rounding the edge off a little bit. It doesn't hurt the gearbox casing at all. It doesn't hurt the way the gun functions if you ever wanted to turn it back to a normal wire set, if you wanted to pull the Mosfet out. So it's non-destructive and doesn't affect the gun at all. It's just making sure that sticker doesn't get pulled off as the selector rolls past it. So the selector sits on here like so, and then it just stops that edge, pulling the sticker off as it's pushed to each side. So there we go. Just pop the bearing out there. And I'm just doing it on this cloth so the cloth catches all the little fibres that's come off. So max malt trigger, get that ready to go in. And we're going to unpack the Titan, which we've been waiting for absolute months for. So this is the version 2 rear wired basic edition. Just going to get that opened. So evening Phil, how you doing? I'm used to the M4 pull mags, easier to load with a shed load of BBs. Yeah, so I take it you're talking about high cap mags compared to mid cap mags with the pull cord. But to be honest, I use mid caps in all my guns. I use a lot of gas guns now as well, so it's not so much of an issue for me. But I like the Aries mags because they're reliable up to this point. You've got the little 55 rounder, you've got the 110 round long mag, and then you've got that stonking drum mag. The only bugbear I have with the drum mag is the windy wheel at the bottom is not the best. I would have much preferred like a wheel on the front to turn, like I think the ARP9s, or like the classic Army, just a little motor in there with a button so you could wind it easier. So this is exactly how your Titan would come if you were fitting one into a KWA. Hi John, how's it going? The grind. Not sure what you're referring to there. You're on about me installing this into a gun. So just want that and the installation kit. We're just gonna pull this apart. And these Mosfets are so reliable. I mean, this, for the amount of them that I've fitted, I think I've only ever sent 2 back as warranty with Gate. And we've fitted hundreds of these. Well, I've fitted hundreds of these Mosfets. I'm just going to pull the steel screw. So if you're fitting one of these into a KWA, they have a thread, or they have a hole to screw the Mosfet on. Just looking for the correct screw. There we are. So they have a little hole here to attach the Mosfet screw, to mount the Mosfet to the box even. But that hole is not threaded, which isn't a problem. You can use a screw to thread that hole. It's very easy, but you should not use the screw that comes with the Gate Titan installation kit, because if you try and use that silver screw that comes with the Gate Titan, the head will literally just snap off. It's not a very high tensile strength screw. So use the standard one that comes on the KDY Gearbox. It's either, there's two of them that come connected to the wiring set, which are here and here. So you basically pull those both out and then just use one to thread the gearbox. Going on how this feels, I think I might have already done it last time maybe, but we're just going to push it through just to make sure. Just feel nice and easy. Yeah. And then once you've done that, you can take that screw and just put it in your spare bits with your wiring bits. And you're going to take your Mosfet. You're going to pop it to the casing there and open the installation kit. We're going to use the small screw set, so the M2 screw set. You're going to take this out. You're going to take the screw. You're going to fit one metal washer, and then you're going to fit the insulation washer there as well. And then this is the tricky part, trying to get this in the hole without it falling off. So like so, and then you're just going to screw it down. You're just going to gently, with your fingertips on the screwdriver, just tighten it up, because if you over torque that silver screw from Gate, it will snap the head off, and then you've got to drill the thing out. Trust me, I've fitted loads of these. I've had loads of these screws snap, and there's loads of these casings that I've had to drill out and re-tap for the bigger screw. So just a heads up for you there. So we're going to take the orientation of these wires as well, is being mindful of this. Makes your job a hell of a lot easier. Let's zoom you in for this so you can see it better. So let's focus you in there. You're going to take the thin wire and we're going to pop that one in first, like so. Then you're going to take your negative wire and you're going to push that in behind it, and that's going to hold that little wire in place. Then you can literally take your T10 that you used to take the screws off the gearbox, just push those two down. You're going to, it might be hard to see here, but you're going to hold this little wire out. You're going to put the negative wire down like so, and then what you're going to do is you're going to turn this positive wire so it sits like that. So it's basically just crisscrossing the wires over at this junction here, and it just makes sure that all the wires get kept out of the way for when the motor comes in, and it's nice and tidy. And just like that, it's done. Put your negative motor terminal wire down there as well, and that's your wiring done. You have not got to do anything else. Now, the reason why the Gate Titans work on these Mosfets instead of the Asters is the sensor for the sector gear is here. So you've got two halves of the Mosfet. So as this goes on top, you've got the two sensors that opposite each other, and it picks up the gear teeth to know where the gear is. Now with the Asters, the sensor is actually here for the cam on the sector gear, so that's where it picks up from, because the Aster doesn't have a top half that you put on afterwards, it's all on the lower half. So the sensor's here. Now with the KWA 2.5 gearboxes, the Titan can work fine because it picks up the gear here, the teeth on the gear here. However, the Aster, because this section here is spaced a little bit down and to the right, it's not this isn't perfectly central around this bearing. So when the cam turns, it doesn't reach far enough for the sensors to pick it up. So what that means is the gear keeps turning, the Mosfet doesn't know where it is, and it just double beeps and shuts off, and that's the whole reason why. And it's just because this trigger section here is down to the right compared to a normal version 2 gearbox. What nozzle does the KWA use? My nozzle is broken. I don't know where to find a replacement. I have the QRF Mod 1 Special Edition and have had loads of problems. The nozzles can be different. So I've noticed a difference in nozzles compared to like the Mod 1 compared to the TK45. But I would just hit up, depending on where you are, just hit up your KWA supplier and you might be able to get one of these spare from KWA. But for all intents and purposes, I don't see why you couldn't use a different nozzle of the same length. You might have to modify it just a little bit, but I've known customers use different nozzles. I don't know what nozzles they've specifically used or if they had to modify them. I just know it can be done. But I've never had a problem with the nozzles whatsoever, so I've never had to change one. So I'm going to pop these gears back in here. Like I say, these gearboxes do come really well shimmed from the factory. I'm yet to have a KWA gearbox that has been shimmed badly from factory. Just going to pop this in here. There you go, gear sets in. It's a nice thin film of grease all over those gears, so there's no need to over applicate the lubricant on the gears. I bought one from KWA that was for the QRF and it doesn't slide in. I would just have a conversation with KWA. So what do you mean by the nozzle doesn't slide into the hop unit, or? But I'll just have a quick discussion with whoever the distributor is, wherever you're from. Can you hardwire a Mosfet to the micro trigger switch, to the micro switch trigger of an Elite Force M4 CFR Aries gearbox, the one without the magnetic sensor? Not too sure what you're asking there. Elite Force M4 CFR Aries gearbox. So I see what you mean. So you want to put the Mosfet directly to the micro switch, so it's the gearbox has the micro switch instead of the Aries EFCS Mosfet system. If that's correct, then yes, it's just a micro switch. Although if you fit in Mosfets, usually, I mean, I can't remember which one the Mosfet is now. I haven't fitted a Mosfet for ages. You should have no problem with that. It's literally like the same as wiring it into a normal gearbox. So a more traditional style gearbox, if that makes sense. So you should have no issues there whatsoever. Triggers in, nice and easy. I'm going to pop the other half of the Mosfet on there, make sure all the pins are aligned. Good to go. I'm going to pop this cylinder, piston, cylinder head, tappet plate, nozzle, all goes in nice and easy. I love the fact that the KWA gearboxes, you can fit this afterwards. Just makes life a hell of a lot easier. And that is the install done. You know, triggers in, piston heads on, Mosfets installed. Simple as that. He says as I forget to do something, who knows. So if you've left the screws in like me, being lazy, just as you're closing it down, just turn back the screws, because sometimes they catch on the casing, like that back one there. Make sure it's all seated. Into the piece that holds against the cylinder. Into the piece that holds against the cylinder. So you're on about the tappet plate. It doesn't fit the tappet plate. So you're on about the plate that comes down and sort of sits on the sector gear to feed the rounds in. Is that what you say? So you can't fit the nozzle as you slide it in? Is that what you mean? So we're going to screw this gearbox casing up here. Just notice Stephen Bayliss is on the stream. How are you doing, Stephen? what I do notice is whenever I do gun work like this, it always pulls in more people than if we ever do a bit of gaming on a Saturday night. And I do understand that this might be a lot more interesting for our audience, but the reason we do the gaming is just because it's normally on a Saturday. It's been a long week. You know, you want to switch off and just chill out. And a lot of the people that play with us, if not all of them, are avid airsofters as well. You've got Josh from Airsmiths, Corey, a load joined us I think last week, Matt and Joe. So it's just a bit of laid back fun, you know. It's not that we get annoyed that people don't watch the stream. I can fully understand that people don't want to watch gaming that follow an airsoft channel, but for those that do, it's just like we can. In the past, what we've done as we're gaming, we do talk a lot of airsoft as well, and those do ask questions, can get them answered and get a direct answer straight away live rather than having to wait for it. So that is mainly the reason we do it. But you can also join us if you're an avid PC gamer. We've been playing a lot of Battlefield 4 lately, just because we're hyped up about the 2042 release this October. But keep them coming, guys. If you've got any questions whatsoever, it doesn't have to be related to what I'm doing. Just post them in the comments below, and I'll get them answered for you. So let's get these bits out of the way. So you see how easy that is. I know I've been talking a lot while I've been doing it, but that was literally super quick. The live stream's only been going 34 minutes, and I've probably been talking about 30 minutes of that. So, you know, it's easy to do. You can use this as a guide as well if you want. Take your time, but if you get stuck, I understand some people don't want to do it themselves. You can always bring the gun into us and we'll fit it for you. Does the Glock 17 or the Desert Eagle CO2 have a way of fitting a trace unit on? Hi James, by the way, all that I've bought are amazing, by the way. Well, nice for you to join us, Jonathan. Which Glock 17 Desert Eagle models are you referring to? Because they do differ between brands. So if you can let me know that, I might be able to better answer the question for you. So this is what I mean by the sticker here, and that little modification did to the gearbox casing earlier. It's just going to stop the sticker from delaminating. And you get three of these, three different styles of stickers. I had a really weird one not long ago when I was fitting this to a T10, and I always fit this middle sticker on every category that I do. And always when I fit them, everything sits the same, it's all spaced the same, never have a problem. And for some reason this T10 would not pick up this sticker properly. I went to the pure white sticker that had more problems, so I went the opposite way and did the one with the wider dark line here on the side. Didn't like that. Ended up taking that off, fitting a different sticker of the first one that I fitted, and it worked just fine. So I don't know whether there was something wrong with that sticker and I just hadn't noticed. But usually the category is fit the middle one with a thin black line. You just want to match it up to the bottom, square it up to the bottom here, and then you square it up to this flat face here. I know that might be a bit blurry because of where I focus the camera for you. It really would be nice to have a top-down camera that auto-focused, but doing what I can with the equipment that I have. So what I did find that the first time I used the DSLR, it was shooting 1080, but for some reason now it won't. So I might for the next one have to go back to the Logitech camera. So there you go, gearbox is done. And we fit. I mean, those are the customers that come in and request custom categories from us. We fit the same parts because it's a tried and tested method. We know it works, and it yields great results. The only way, in my opinion, your category will yield even better results is by having a custom package by us straight through Jaeger Precision, and then we do we lap the barrels, we fit our hops. And just get them performing to the absolute next level. But as an off-the-shelf item, this is more than you need. And then if you did want to take it a little bit further, we can always do that. So, gearbox is done. Let's do the hop and barrel next. off here. So the full auto CO2 Desert Cybergun and the Glock 17 you sold that came with the hard case. The Glock 17 that we sold with the hard case, if it's the ACL line that we did, yes, you can thread an adapter in there. You'll need the armament adapter, which is an opposite thread to like a WE. So if you wanted to fit a pistol tracer straight onto the ACL pistol, you wouldn't be able to. You'd have to use an adapter and use one that's threaded for 14 counterclockwise for the adapter. The Desert Eagle by Cybergun, I'm not too sure. I would need to check because I haven't done anything like that recently. I don't want to say give a definitive answer and it'd be wrong, so I'd have to double check on that. What is the SSP1, as in without Novrich name? What is the gun? The SSP1, is that his high capper or is that the Glock? Romeo, if you could let me know and I'll be able to better answer. Now when you're fitting Prometheus barrels to these, sometimes the collars can be very tight and they don't want to go on the barrel. Let's see if I can focus this here. So sometimes the collars are a bit tight and they don't want to go on. Literally, all you need to do is grab a file and just take a bit of material off the inside of this. They can be a bit of a pain. Just do it by feel. Eventually it'll slide on, and at least this way you can get it to a point where it's a nice fit, but it's not too tight or too loose. The high capper, it will be based on a KJ Works. I think it's a KPO6. He obviously changes certain bits of the factory, but his high capper line and his Glock line are both made by KJ Works, which is the same OEM as Sekita pistols. It's the Mark 23. Had to file down the Ares M4 nozzle to make it work in my DSG, so I ordered the AK nozzle to see if it would work. What do you think will fit it? What do you think will fit? So what brand is the gun that the DSG is fitted into, is it? And that's what you need to do. So you need to know what brand. I need to know what brand it is, because some brands do slightly different lengths. But you could find out the length that you need, and then the Max model do one. I've heard they're very good. They're like a double O-ring nozzle, so almost. So that might be the best thing to do. So I'm just opening this up a little bit here. Oh, so close. So close. Just see if I've got my other file. Which I don't have to hand. It's no problem. I'll carry on with this one. How are we all this evening, gents? Have you had a good week? Anyone got any games on this weekend that you're excited for? Elite Force CQC Gen 5. I'm not really sure what gun that is. Elite Force will be the distributor that's brought it in. Do you by any chance know the OEM of who it is? Get in there. So as you'll see as well, these barrels that we fit in are not normal barrels. They started off as a Prometheus barrel. They've been turned down to the exact specification that I need them to, and then they've had a 2012 Sistema style porting on there. So they're actually ported barrels. These perform really well. Simple modification if you've got a lathe. although you do have to be very precise with it because it can go horrifically wrong. Also, I'm from Brum. Would you recommend Bassett's Pole as a good site? Jonathan, do you mean there's two sites at Bassett's Pole? So you've got Bassett's Pole, which is the NPF, and then you have Fireball Squadron, which is behind NPF, which has been there since about 1998. So it's probably one of the oldest sites in the UK. It's made by Ares, so it's made by Ares, but you've filed down the Ares M4 nozzle to make it work in your DSG. The AK nozzle I don't think will work, it'll be the wrong size. You'll need an M4 style nozzle. So you can actually find out what the measurements are for M4 style nozzles on the internet. I think Max Model display them on their website as well. Perfect. So that's a perfect fit there. It's not loose, it's just right, it's not going to go anywhere. So we're going to open this up, because if you haven't watched one of my videos before, you probably don't know that KWAs fit horrendous hot rubbers from the factory. They really are absolute rubbish. Okay, if you want to get, like, if you've got the gun and you want to take it to a skirmish, it'll be fine. Anything up to a 2.5, you might get a bit sporadic results with it. But the best thing you could do to a KWA straight out the box is a different hot rubber. So these will have a nice Prometheus purple hot rubber. They have a nice Prometheus barrel that's been modified. These are not off the shelf Prometheus barrels, just so you're aware. See, we don't just fit aftermarket parts, we also modify them. And these barrels are going to perform absolutely beautifully. The only way you're going to get better is by ordering a Jaeger Precision barrel from the Jaeger Precision website, or getting in touch with Jaeger Precision. Hand-lapped, hand-turned barrels. They really are, in my opinion, I know I'm a little bit biased, but they really are some of the best barrels that you can get. But they're not cheap. They're not cheap at all. And it all depends on how many lapping passes you want. So the more lapping passes, the more consistent the barrel is going to be. So there's the barrel done. Right. I'm going to put that to one side. We have got bags and bags of parts to fit onto this gun. Let's get started, and then when we're done, we should have a nice beautiful KWA ready to go to its new home. Just got a bit of water here. Would you recommend green or red gas for the PTS MKM AR-15? BB wait for best results, and I was told it will need bedding in. Is this true? As I put a blanket on it and did nothing. See, you do hear a lot. I hear this a lot as an airsoft term, bedding in. There's a tiny bit of truth to it, but also not really. So a hot rubber should perform well straight off the bat. Sometimes they can get, I would term bedding in as the rubber just softening up a little bit and sort of settling in place. So you fitted it, it's on the barrel, and after the rounds have sort of shot and it sort of jostled around a bit, you'll find that the hot rubber settles into its resting position. But in terms of having to put so many rounds through a hot rubber to bed it in to get it to work properly, I don't believe in that at all. The amount of these Prometheus hot rubbers that I fitted into guns, and they've just worked straight away, and not just limited to this what I'm doing here, to many guns. But as far as the AR-15 by that's they might have a K'd away, I think, aren't they? I'll be honest with you, I've never fired one. I would use whichever gas suits the weather at the time you're firing it, and also the sort of power output. So if your power is okay on green, just use green. In all my gas blowbacks, I use propane. Apart from some of my pistols, which won't hack the propane, but they won't hack the propane. But I just like some of the pistols that I have. I like to use off-the-shelf green gas because it's got the added lubricant in there, and I don't want any issues. But for majority of stuff that I use propane. It performs better in every single test that I've carried out. What green are you working on? So this is a custom KWA. It's a KWA QRF Mod 3. It's been made specifically for the Bespoke Airsoft website, and 2 are going to be built, and that will be it. And then we'll be moving on to something else, just so that those 2 lucky people that buy one have got something, unique that is not going to be found out there with other people. So. Pins in here. These pins always give me a bit of jip after Cerakote. Always. Even though I thoroughly clean out the ports after sandblasting and Cerakote, so this one's going to cooperate today. The M4 nozzle wouldn't feed, so I had to file it down. Figured the AK nozzle is like an M4 nozzle, just a bit shorter, so I figured it might work. I mean, I'll be honest with you, we don't do a lot with DSGs, but I can't see why filing it down, you would need to file it down, because it's either going to work or it isn't. If it's not working because of literally how fast it's turning over, which is a common thing with DSGs, feed problems and other bits like that. I would rather have a look at the gun and assess it without sort of diagnosing it over the internet, because it's very difficult because I can't see the gun. And the last thing I want to do is give you some bad advice. So I would just say, if you're stuck, just pop it into a local tech or someone that's familiar with doing those kind of modifications, and just get a second opinion, see what they think. Let them have a look at it, because sometimes, I mean, we've all done it, we've worked on something and we just can't figure out why something isn't working. And then a fresh pair of eyes comes on and they spot something straight away, just because you're so tunnel visioned into getting the job done. So yeah, let's get this added in here. Oh, falling out the bottom. I always fit these wrong multiple times, so let's see if we can get this right. These little ball bearings are an absolute pain. Not drop this ball bearing. Sorry if I go quiet here, I'm just concentrating. Like that. Something a bit magnetic, that's what I need. There we go. Come on, sit properly. Come on. Right, you're orientated correctly. Zoom out a little. Sorry, Romeo. Can you? Are you a bit out of? I'm just trying to stay on top of the gun here, so you can see. But this bit that I'm doing is very tricky. So I need to get this ball bearing on that selector as I push it in. sort of push down and in at the same time, and then push the ball bearing into place like so. Whew, it is a pain in the backside. So now I can fit this selector, and then you take this really long, thin grub screw, use a 0.8mm Allen key, I believe. I bought these in bulk when I started working on Arcade of Ways. Got a bit of glue on the It's a very intuitive system that they've used here. It just can be a pain if you don't install it correctly, and I've installed these incorrectly multiple times, just talking or something as I'm doing it, and I haven't orientated it properly. So you screw that grub screw in, if it goes in far enough, and then the selector. As I say, now once you've done one, the opposite side is a little bit easier because the one selector holds it in orientation. So again, I'm going to place this with the two holes up. I'm going to slide this into position here, and then I'm using a little flat head that's magnetised just so I can hold the ball bearing. Push the ball bearing onto the spring. You need to push the ball bearing in as you push the selector piece out to sort of trap the ball bearing, otherwise the ball bearing shoots off and you'll be looking for it for a while, especially if you've got a carpeted floor. The nozzle was seated too far into the hop unit so the BBs wouldn't feed, so I had to fire it down. I imagine then you're going to be causing yourself a bit of an air leak because the nozzle isn't travelling far forward enough as it should do. Without naming, when I first bought from your site, was the only one I trusted and don't buy from anyone else. Are there fake web pages around for airsoft? I wouldn't necessarily say there's fake pages. There are retailers out there that have got a really bad reputation for like scamming people and not sending stuff out and doing this, that and the other, and they're still trading. I'm not going to name any names. There's plenty of information out there warning you of said people. So, but yeah, it's a bit criminal, really. But what can you do? Selector. This is a really intuitive select system. I like the way that Gearbox have done this. So. Fitted, and then we drop. It's a really odd shaped looking screw. Just got like a point on it. Let me zoom in here. So it's a really odd shaped looking screw. It's got a point on it and a threaded section at the top. And that just goes through. Before I thread this in, because it's been blasted and cerakoted, all I do, I take one of these brushes. These are used for cleaning out spray guns, and I just clean the threads. I think it's because you're a Brummie, James, I trust you. See, it depends. I suppose if you're a Brummie yourself, John, it's the familiarity, but I catch so many people off guard when they talk to me. I wouldn't say people hate a Brummie accent, but I don't really think I've got, a strong Birmingham accent compared to what some people that live in Birmingham have. But Some people that call me up every now and again will say I don't sound like I'm from Birmingham, and then many people say, "Oh my God, you've got the strongest Brummie accent I've ever heard," which I don't think I have. But I'll let you be the judge of that. So, getting closer here. I'm just going to pop the rear pin in now. This is the one that can be a pain in the backside. So I've cleaned it all out already. You've got this tiny little pin that goes in first. Behind the pin you've got a tiny little screw, tiny little spring even, and then behind that you've got a grub screw. And it's a very specific size. I think this is the correct one. So you drop the grub screw in behind the pin and the spring, and then that threads in. If you watch the last live stream, you'll know I had a massive bother with the one because it just would not, it kept getting stuck and it just did not want to play ball at all. Where this one went straight in. So sometimes it does go to plan. So pins it in, lower's done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get this gearbox placed inside. You're up there, James, mate. Mine is strong, so I can tell a good one, and yep, you're up there. Well, I trust that if someone from Birmingham is telling me I've got a strong Birmingham accent, then I'll take that from you, John. But I don't know. I get told conflicting things all the time. I had a really interesting conversation with a couple in Vegas, and I think it was 2016. I was in Vegas, and at a roulette table, and they were like, "Oh, you sound really familiar. Whereabouts are you from?" I was like, "I'm from Birmingham." And they were like, "Oh, Birmingham, Alabama," and I was like, "No, that's not where I'm from." And I could not get through to these people that I wasn't from America. And you'd have thought that it would have been deadly obvious. But it's a weird thing with the Americans. Once they know you're from England, they change a little bit with how they sort of deal with you. Now I'm just going to turn the microphone off just while I tap this pin in, because the last thing I want to do is deafen you with a metallic sound. So just 2 seconds. There we go, I'm done. Save me making strong metallic sounds in your eardrums if you're on headphones. So gearbox is in, dead simple. And then what I like to do next when I'm doing lowers, I like to install this piece. And the reason for that will be apparent now. So take the charging handle, pop that on the top of the gearbox, let that sit in there so it's all aligned, and then we're going to pop this spring system in, pop the fake bolt cover there, pop the handle on, which locks into place there, and then you've got this little screw. Screw that in place. And the reason I like to fit this part first, and you'd think you'd fit that last before fitting the receiver, and the whole reason is because when you turn it over, it stands up on itself, and you can do the motor grip and such without any palaver. So we have PTS grip here, which requires a 2mm 2mm Allen key for the front screw. They mostly call us Aussies. They can't tell the difference. What's up, man? Fan of the vids. Any of you guys still shipping to Ireland? Like you, Greek, I've stopped since Brexit. I think, as far as I'm aware, we're shipping to Ireland. We ship to Ireland all the time, so I think it's just a different form with UPS. So I haven't heard of anything stopping us from shipping there at the moment. So sometimes we have had a few that Irish customers that have bought from us. UPS have sat on the package in a depot for 3 weeks and then they've delivered it. But that's more a UPS problem than a Brexit problem. I think UPS are just they've gone from being one of the best companies to being one of the worst. So we don't really have too many problems with them, but when we do have a problem, it seems to be a bit ridiculous. Didn't realise this was airsoft for a second. I thought you were building railguns. No railguns here. Clues in the name, but yeah, we do airsoft. Like that. And I need to find my pliers. There they are. Flathead, it's fine. I'm going to bend these connectors over. I'm going to zoom you out a little bit more. That's the best it's going to focus. I'll try and do it manually. So what I'm going to do with these connectors, I'm just going to bend them over a flathead like so. I'm just going to apply pressure, turn these into a right angle, as close as. I did have a spot. I normally grab the wire with some needle nose and bend them over, but for some reason they've gone missing. As to where, I do not know. Right in front of me. I seem to get mine really quick, to be fair. Never had a problem. For the most part, our shipping's really quick, and we've always been sort of praised for our fast shipping compared to others. But every now and again, a courier does something and causes a problem for us, and then we get scolded a bit, but I think it's happening to everyone at the moment. So it's good to know of GBRs, but there's no one over here that sells them if they're not Tokyo Marine because we have a 1 jaw limit. They don't want the hassle of putting an impasse, I guess. Yeah, we'll ship to Ireland. Until someone tells us otherwise, we'll keep shipping there. But as far as I'm aware, sometimes the shipments can be delayed, so just expect that. Let's push these connectors on here. Now with cableways or anything that uses these the PTS grips, you always want to run both wires up the front. You don't want to run them up the back like a normal grip, because basically the angle of engagement on the motor needs to be, even though they're a more vertical grip, the grip comes this way, the motor has to stay in a perfect angle to the bevel gear. And with the PTS grips, they like to be far back in the grip. It's just how the grip works, so you have to run both wires up the front there, or you're going to have some issues. Have you ever sent an airsoft to Morocco? Not that I'm aware of, but if we can ship there, we will. If we can't, unfortunately, it's just one of those things that sometimes the couriers just don't ship there. Believe it or not, we have so many problems shipping to the US. And it's just because we'll send them a UPS will sit on them in US customs for a week. They'll do absolutely nothing to try and get them through customs, and then they'll just return them to us. And with the postage being as expensive as it is, it's just not a loss that we can incur, so we stop shipping guns and suppressors over to the US. Yeah, it should clear customs, but we haven't had any problems with that wise. It's just normally it sits in a depot over here in like the mainland UK for 3 weeks, and then they eventually ship it. So gearbox is fitted, selector feels good, trigger feels good. These really do go together like Lego, so it is really simple. Now what we're going to do next, I'm going to take the stock piece, that threads in the back here, can get a bit of a resistance sometimes from the coating. So these custom guns also have Cerakote ceramic firearm coatings on them, which is a nice hard wearing coating. So you want to go as far as you can in and then back it off so it's nice and straight. Then you take your sling plate, run that through, that goes onto the back of the gun just there like so. It will only orientate one way, so if this isn't straight like you see there, it won't go on. And then that screw is a 2.5. That's a 3. So 2.5 Allen key. Just whack that in there. Mark, this is a custom Calibre QRF. Now it's a mod 3. Obviously this one's not completed yet, but I'll show you what it is. This is basically the gun that it becomes. Custom engraving on both sides. This is serial number 1. I'm currently building serial number 3. There's only going to be 2 of these available. You'll see the colour is ever so slightly different, and this is a special colour blend that we've done for the Valkyrie series. And I've also done it, Josh at Airsmiths, we did a custom MTW for him, and it had the same colour, and it's a very unique colour. I really do like it. So once your sling plate's on, you've got your spring and your adjustable spring guide with your quick spring change system, and you literally just push and turn, that's on. Thread your wires through. This goes in like so. That slots down there. In the end you have a little cap. So this little cap head here is the one that secures the stock to the gun and secures a spring guide in place, which is a posi screw. So that just goes on, make sure it's orientated correctly. Does it take long to do this, to learn how to do this by heart? It depends. So I would say yes. You can get people with literally pure natural skill that will pick this up very quickly. Before I was building airsoft guns, I was building air rifles. I've always had a knack to taking things apart and putting them back together again without much notice and sort of knowing where things go. So I think there's a natural interest and skill there. But I have been building airsoft guns for like 15 years, and you know, it's just Calibres, the amount of Calibres that I've done and the amount of Titans that I've fitted, it is literally just second nature now. It's actually harder doing it on camera because I'm having to talk to the live audience and build and try and focus on what I'm doing at the same time. I did one of these today in the workshop, and it literally took me about 15-20 minutes. So the stock's on there. I'm going to put the cap on the stock, and then the stock pad goes through like that, and that is the lower built. So that is one lower ready to go. I'm going to pop that to one side. Because next we have the interesting part, which is building the upper receiver. So dead simple. We've got the outer barrel section there is a bit of marring on that from factory. Let me just try and fix that. Just a bit of burring on the collar from factory. Just here. So as they've fitted it, they've just burred this metal a little bit, which is going to cause us a little bit of an issue when we put the nice painted rail back on. So I'm just going to file that down to clear it. Barrel goes on. Collar comes down. Just tighten this up. I have to do it off camera, otherwise if I slip I'm going to end up taking the the camera off the mount. Let's just tighten that up. So once that's on, we can take the faux gas block and we can thread that on there. That sits in place like so. You've got a 1.5mm grub screw on the front and the back. These will align with a hole on the outer barrel, so you can, as you tighten it up, just wiggle it about and it will centre itself. Have you thought about doing a raffle? Yeah, it can go either way. We were doing stuff. Well, I got involved with a page called Tack Gear Giveaways, and I don't think the interest was there. We did try. We gave it a good run. It started off well, and then the interest wasn't there. And if you're not selling the tickets, you're just hemorrhaging money with the prizes. Would it be something that we would do for a bespoke? I don't think so. We did it to try and get some prize in people's hands and do it as a bit of fun, but it just didn't work out. We did well with distraction devices like grenades, TRMRs, SFDIs and SFDFs, but with guns and such, it was a bit of a painful process. I'm not gonna lie. Here's the lovely M-lock handguard. And taking that burr off means it's been a hell of a lot easier to fit than it was to get off. But it's still nice and tight. I'm just going to give this a tap. There we go. And then I think it's a 2.5 again. You have 3 screws on the handguard. One goes in one side and then the other 2 go in the opposite side. What I'll say as well is all the engraving on these guns are deep engraved. No white marking, no cheap laser engraving. It's all deep laser engraving, or laser marking, or deep etching, whatever you want to call it. It's a very long process. I'd say each receiver took about an hour to 2 hours to do, just for the engraving, and then you're talking hours to coat them. So a lot of love and attention have been put into these rifles, and I really am happy for those that are going to purchase one, because they're going to absolutely love it. Hi Andrew. Just keep tightening these up both sides. You have to keep going, because you'll think you've done one side and you'll think it's tight, and then you flip over and do the other one and it keeps going. So you just want to keep going until you feel a fair amount of resistance on all 3. Because the last thing you want is this thing coming loose. That should do it. So uppers get in there. We need to put in the have I done that? Have I jumped the gun on that? I think I might have done. Can we go in from the other side? We might be able to. Yeah, we can go from this side. Panic over. So. Put this in. Need the spring. So. So, pop it through. We need to line up the little divot for the C-clip. So we have this tiny little C-clip which goes on. That clips in, and after it clips in, we just turn it round so it can't come back out on itself. That's fitted, and then probably the most painful task is pushing these in, because sometimes the pins bend. So pin, I want to go in that way. They're a pain to hold as well when you do it. I'm going to silence the mic while I smack this in, because you know, save your ears. There we go. All done. Hardest part. Put the spring on the hot unit and the barrel, and that's going to be pushed in. And fit the iron sights. Do we have a flathead? Got an oversized flathead. That'll do. I think I got a calibre from you that you did a review on. Sorry for you needing to blue all my guns, by the way. It was the gas one you showed a few months back. Gas one. Which one would have that been, John? Sights on, and if you've followed this along and you're thinking about fitting upgrades into your KWA, you won't have had to do all the stripping of the parts on the upper and the lower. You could literally just go in, take the gearbox out, take the barrel and hops it out, do the parts, put them back in. The rest of the stuff is because I've had to strip the gun down to Cerakote it, which is why it's taking a lot longer than what it should. I love the PTS iron sights, and I love the fact that KWAs come with them as standard. If we did play with real guns here in the UK, I honestly think these sights would be good enough for real guns too. They really are the most sturdy iron sights sets that I've come across, and they come included. So let's put that on there. good. I'm going to take the upper, going to go on there, put that pin out so I can get in. And there we go. We have one custom KWA QRF Mod 3. Now, I'm not going to push this mag in all the way because it's obviously still got the label on, but the mags will go in like so. I don't think I can zoom you out any. Oh, there we go. The one that was on James Bond bit, FPS Strong out the box, is that the MP9 or is that the Scorpion, the little CZ Scorpion? Thank you, Romeo. If you are serious about one of these, just get in touch because there's another little part, if you wanted to get one from us, there's another little part I can fit for you that would make this just so much better in terms of range and accuracy. So if you're interested in that, Romeo, and you do want one from us and you do want one of these two rifles, just let me know. And for anyone else that's watching, it's just basically converting this to an R-hop setup. The MP9. The MP9s can be a little warm, but you can get what they call like a CQB bolt or a downgrade bolt for them for the summer weather, or you can use a lower powered gas. To be honest, green gas, once you've shot a mag through it and the system cools down a little bit, because we don't really have massively hot weather here in the UK. We are at the moment, apart from today with it raining, but get yourself CQB bolt, run that in the summer, run the high power bolt in the winter. It's like an M4 SMG, yes it is. So apart from the magazine to go in, it's fully built. So it's a KWA QRF Mod 3. It's been completely stripped. It's had custom engraving on both sides. It's then been Cerakoted in an exclusive colour, a blend that we do here at Jaeger Precision. Then when we put it back together, we fitted you a Gate Titan, we fitted a max model piston head, we fitted a max model trigger, we've put a modified Prometheus type bore barrel, which has been machined perfectly sized, and it's been ported, and then we've put a Prometheus hot rubber on there also, and then slapped it all together. So not only are you getting a special edition gun from us, but you're getting something that's pretty much, I'm not going to use the term fully upgraded, but it's been upgraded to the point where you could pull this out and you wouldn't have to do anything to it. If you did want to take it that extra 10%, I say 10%, it's a weird term, but if you do want to take it that extra little bit further, you can always get in touch with us at Jaeger Precision. We can lap barrels, we can fit our hop systems into these, and I've got that same system in all my guns, and everybody that has a gun from us that's set up the same way absolutely swears by it and says that it's the only gun that they use from then on. Get it inbox you once stream ends, but would also like my M45 that colour. This is the Valkyrie. We call it the Valkyrie blend because it was the colour was first put on the first Valkyrie VMP9 that I did. I did tweak the colour after the first one, so you might see that the colour's a little bit different. It's got more of a sort of titanium. It's weird to explain, and the way it looks on camera is complete. I don't know. It's not completely different, but it doesn't do it justice. Is what I'm trying to say. This is more of a silver. This is more of like a titanium sort of greeny off metallic colour, and this was the predecessor to this colour. I was working through the colours. I was mixing bits and pieces in with it, and then eventually I came up with this, which I absolutely love. And then we did, I think I might be able to actually show you, we built a custom MTW, so I can do an image here. Let's see if I can pull this image in. this was a custom MTW that was done for Josh at Airsmiths. So you'll see here, let me reduce that down. This was the custom MTW did in the same colour. Now this was a MTW. We machined the barrel down. We fitted a custom integrated suppressor front end with the flash hider on there as well. So we machined the barrel down to fit this. The suppressor was a perfect fit for the rail. That matches it and suits it really well. And then we did it in the Valkyrie colour. It's going to need I'm just going to call it Valkyrie metallic. So we did it in the Valkyrie metallic colour. Put it all together. Magpul grip. The black and the Valkyrie colour work really well, and that was the MTW that we did for Airsmith. So I think he posted up in the MTW group recently, so I don't know what he's doing with that. It might be even up for grabs. You'll have to get in touch with Josh and find out if you want to pick that rifle up. I know he was in two minds whether to keep it himself or sell it in his shop, so very cool colour indeed. And you know, this will be something that we do. What gun we move on to next, I don't know. I have got a little project here as a sidearm project. This is a replica basically from Armworks. That's a copy of the Springfield V10 Custom 45. Now these come in like black or silver, or you can get them with like mix and match colours. Now this gun we've pulled apart. This is going to be Cerakoted, so the top is going to be black. The frame I think is going to be Valkyrie metallic, and then we're going to modify certain things. We might put a nice barrel and hot unit in, barrel and hot rubber in there. The trigger's going to be adjusted. The parts inside are going to be polished to work really well. The testing of this pistol, as I was messing around with it before I stripped it down for Cerakote, it was an absolute beast, and it's a really compact pistol. I do like the V10 custom from Armorworks, and this is going to be a nice piece which is going to go up on the website as well, and it's going to be fully Cerakoted. So it's going to be black top, Valkyrie metallic lower, and then we might do other pistols. So we really could go, we do like doing Cerakote literally because it makes it that much more unique. We might put a load of markings on that as well, make it into something special. But that's it. We've built one. I'm not going to go through the next one because we'll be here for another hour and a half. I think that one's pretty much built from last time. I think I've just got to put the Mosfet in the gearbox and put it back together. So it's not going to be as an interesting video as this one here. But this will be the last time I do the video on the VMP9 in terms of a live stream. I'll probably do a video on the channel like we do with the review stuff, where I'm firing it and I'll show you how good this thing works. If they last that long, I imagine these are probably going to sell before I get a chance to do a video, but I can always do a video on the one we built for myself and Amanda. So we could do it on serial number 1. This is serial number 3. Serial number 2 just needs to be finished from when the Aster was pulled out. And yeah, you're going to get this for those that have joined in later. It's a KDBA QRF Mod 3. It's been stripped, custom laser, deep etch laser engraving, custom Valkyrie blend, metallic colour. I don't know, we'll just call it Valkyrie metallic. Max model trigger, max model piston head, gate titan Mosfet, Prometheus barrel, Prometheus hot rubber. The Prometheus barrel that we've fitted has been modified and ported to make it perform even better than they already do. This is going to be coming in the box. You'll have the standard bits that we've pulled out in there as well, and you're also going to get a pack of 3 mags thrown in with it too. So you'll have 4 mags total. So this gun is ready to go out of the box. If you want some more mags when you pick it up, we can sort that out for you. We might do a bit of a discount on the mags if you're buying the gun. At a guess what these are going to cost, I mean, we really need to do price it up, but I imagine if we can get it close to the 500 figure, we will do. I imagine it's going to be a little bit more than that, so, but we'll figure it out. We might be surprised. What I tend to do is just fit all these parts and worry about the pricing afterwards. We'll just put our usual percentage on there that we put on the rest of the website, with all the work involved. And a lot of time has gone into these rifles. You're not talking weeks, you're talking months, and that's basically just the development that went into the colour, sourcing of the parts. Then we had to wait for the Titans for like 2 months because we thought it was going to fit Asters, but Asters don't work with the K-weight gearboxes. And yeah, we're good to go. If there's no more questions from you guys, I think we're going to sign it off there. I'm going to go get a nice strong drink and have a relax before being back in the shop tomorrow. I'd like to thank everyone that joined in on the live stream. It's a bit of a short one for us. I think usually we 2 to 3, maybe even 4, 5 hours. We'll be doing a live stream tomorrow as well. Won't be building guns, but we'll be doing some gaming and just messing about, and probably on Battlefield 4 or something similar. So if you want to join us in, we'll probably be having a drink on the night time as well. It's nice to have a chat while we do it. Loads of shenanigans kick off. If you look back through last week's Saturday live stream, it really is a blast. It's a good laugh on a Saturday night. If you've got anything else better to do, just drop in and say hi. And if that's all, there's no extra questions. I'll leave it there. Thanks, Jonathan, for confirming how strong my Birmingham accent is. And thanks for tuning in, guys. Romeo, thank you, bud. Give some advance notice of vids. I'll inbox you for this and M45 and drive safe. No problem. Thank you, Romeo. Send me an inbox. We'll sort it out. I don't think I'll have a price on this till perhaps tomorrow or the start of next week. But there's going to be 2 of these available. First come, first served as soon as they go onto the website. Or if you're interested in one, just send us in a message. But it literally will be the first people that message us get the opportunity to buy first. If you don't want it, then we'll pass it on to the next person. And we'll see you in the very next video. We'll see you tomorrow. If you guys are available online tomorrow, we'll be on the live stream tomorrow, and we'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in, and have a good night.